We thought we would do a little experiential with you all today. If you're game, this is a good time to get a pen and paper handy. And we're just going to do a brief meditation. This is very much like what we do um, in all of our CAP labs and Mom Parts workshops. And I'm just going to talk you through a sort of getting to locate some of your own mom parts. If you aren't a mom, um, you'll want to find the parts of you that maybe we would call caretaker parts or caregiving parts. Any ways in which you have been very responsible for someone that you experience as dependent. And I'll stick with the word mom, but you get to sub in the right word for you. Okay, so close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that and go inside and bring to mind a situation that you want to explore when you were mothering or caregiving. And this can be a time that's super alive for you that happened just today, or it can be something from a long time ago. But you want to pick something where you got stirred up, you felt unsettled. We're not going to go for the big trauma, but just something more kind of everyday activation from caregiving and motherhood. And as you start to land on a memory or an experience, think back to where you were and who was there and what was happening. Let yourself feel once again what it was that you didn't like. What were you worried about? And what were you really hoping for? And recall what was going on inside of you at that moment. What kind of reaction were you having? What parts of you were getting stirred up? So when we feel activated, our systems get worried or mad or critical. Just noticing what was happening in you. And how did that show up in your body? See if there was a physical component that came with it, some tension, something happening in your heart or in your belly. Anything visual that you were noticing? Any images? See if there's a storyline here that your part is telling. What's it saying about the kind of mom you are or the kind of kid you have? What's it saying about your relationship? And as you're starting to notice this part more in terms of its story and how it feels in your body, we're going to see if you can separate from it a tiny bit. Not to make it go away, but actually to get a little bit better perspective on it. So if you can unblend from it yourself, great. If you need a little nudge, you could also try as you're breathing it outside of your body a little as you exhale. See if it will move outside of you. So you've got a little bit of space between you and this part of you. If that's possible. If it's not, no problem. But if you do have a little bit of perspective, see if you can understand why this part of you feels the way it does and reacts the way that it does. When you think about your personal history, where you come from, as well as the thing that was happening in that event that you're recalling, does it make sense to you that part of you would feel and behave this way? And if the answer is yes, let your part know. Parts like validation. They like to be understood. They do really well with that, just like kids do. And staying with it just a moment longer, see if this part of you that you've identified has anything else it needs you to know about the hard work it's been doing and how it's trying to help you or what it's afraid of. And when you're ready, I'll invite you back to our shared space where I'm projecting 29 different mom parts onto our screen here. And I'm just going to prompt you to write down any of these parts that showed up in your meditation. You might have one that's really prominent for you. Oh, it was that one. And you might have a whole bunch of them. It's a good opportunity to see if some of these parts are in cahoots, if they are collaborators, members of the same team, whereas other parts are really opposed to them. So you can kind of set it up on your page in a way that feels like it's acknowledging that, any dynamics. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Most of these parts are protector parts, like we talked about earlier. Good mom parts, bad mom parts. They're really here trying to help you stay out of shame and grief. And then there are a handful of those inner baby parts that we also mentioned. There's not quite a handful. Three. We've got the sad, scared, and wanting parts. Just taking a moment to notice which ones were alive for you. And if there's a particular part that you would like to know more about, maybe you are surprised by it, um, or it just feels really alive for you, or you're curious, go ahead and write that part in the chat, and we'll see if we've got a consensus, and we can read about that part from my book. Wanting. Wanting's one of my favorites. Nicole. Regret, yes. Scared, angry. Yeah. Controller, resentful. No consensus yet. These are all good ones. My Jessica Tomich Sorci part from the bottom left corner felt glad I'm meeting my minimized mom part. Rage, anxious, fear, frustrated, regret, helpless. Yeah, helpless is one that isn't here, but it sure is a feeling we can have and a part that maybe an experience that parts of ours can, all kinds of parts can have. Perfectionism, frustrated, resentful, and sad, wanting. I second the wanting or third. Oh, yay. I love reading about wanting. Okay. So in my book, chapter 5 is called Meet Your Mom Parts, and it's all 29 parts. Um, and it's got like a little blurb about the part that is intended. I'll stop my share here. Intended to kind of offer the paradoxical take on parts. That's one of the things I love about IFS is how it introduces us to this paradox of kind of bad parts, parts we hate, parts that we wish we didn't have, parts that have caused horrible things to happen in our relationships, or parts of us that we hold in very high regard. This paradoxical view allows us to see sort of the humanness and the multi-dimensionality of parts and get really curious about them. And as soon as that curiosity comes online, we're in business. We have done some unblending. We've got some self energy or inner mom in there. So, mission accomplished if we're getting curious. Okay, here's our wanting part. Wanting reminds you what you're longing for. Your wanting part came with you into this life and is closely connected with psychological and emotional hunger for intimacy and connection, for being deeply seen and known, for being satisfied and fulfilled. It's primally alive with your animal needs and tinged with desire for pleasure. When wanting gets pushed away, it aches with envy, scarcity, and shame about its desires. And your angry part shows up, furious about all the unmet needs. Wanting can be present day, and it can also be from the past, existing inside of your inner baby, reminding you of your emotional hunger. When wanting attaches itself to other people, or outcomes, or experiences, or substances, or objects, it outsources your power. When it's respected, it will infuse your life with sparkle and authentic connected energy. So that's wanting. It's really important that we have a wanting part that we're in connection with as moms. And most moms really are encouraged to lose their wanting, to become selfless, to really function for other people.